sounded really weird. Yes, we're live. Welcome everybody to episode 253 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson.
Hey.
I don't know what to say. For those that are watching live, yes, it's before Christmas. For those listening, it's well and truly after Christmas. Russell and I are obviously taking a little bit of time as everybody else is over this lovely holiday period. So, yeah, we figured we'd record back-to-back episodes and release them week apart so people's Sunday evening routines or Monday morning routines weren't disrupted.
That's right.
Good way to explain it? I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So if anything happened in and around Christmas, we're probably not covering it today.
We can say to people, Merry Christmas, though.
We can. We hope you had a fantastic Christmas if you're listening after the fact. Hopefully your team won on Christmas Day or Boxing Day in Australia. I'll either be happy or sad.
Hopefully future Adam didn't have too many beers on Boxing Day.
Oh, there'll be lots of beers on Boxing Day, I'm sure.
You better tell everyone what your plan is. It's kind of epic.
Watch all of the basketball I possibly can is the plan. That's it in a summary.
I'm very jealous of your plan, by the way.
It's a lot of basketball. Boxing Day basketball's the best. And there's a bit of cricket in that, but irrelevant. Look, before we jump into the show, I'm going to make it a habit of shouting out to our listeners and saying thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
And if you feel like our content is worthwhile, you're enjoying it and would like to support the show, you can head over to any of your podcast platforms. In the show notes, there's actually a link in the episode description that says support the show. And if you click that, you can make a simple one-off or ongoing contribution. It's kind of like just buy us a coffee, say thank you.
Or buy us a basketball card.
Buy us a kaboom if you feel like it, if you're so inclined.
That's right.
Not that that's an expectation. Obviously, if funds are tight and you don't want to go and buy Russell and I a Kobe Bryant kaboom, you can also help the show by doing some really simple stuff. You can go out to our socials. It can be YouTube, it can be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. If I left anything out, I don't think so. But our tag for all the socials is You Can't Comp This, so it's really, really simple. Like, subscribe, share some of our content, show you appreciate the content that we're putting out there. And yeah, look, keep listening. We really appreciate it. And we're looking forward
to notice when you guys click and comment and stuff like that, I'm a bit of an analytics aficionado, so yeah, I definitely do notice.
We personally try to respond to everything that we see in the socials. So yeah, we do appreciate the support and thank you for an amazing few years, and we're looking forward to doing many, many more episodes.
Yeah.
All right. Now we can get into what's happening.
This week's programming, we've got your letter from the to the FTC. We're going to retouch on that Wilt Chamberlain card. We've got a voicemail from Ryan at Gemrate. We've got a Jeff Wilson special for you. We've got a Molten Metal Michael Jordan. We're going to talk about a Charles Barkley card, Jalen Johnson, Topps buyback, Fanatics distribution. And we're going to talk about some breakout players from this year to round out today's show. So I think without any further ado, I know you're chomping at the bit to talk about this lovely letter from Patrick K. Ryan.
Yes, Congressman Patrick K. Ryan did write a letter to the Federal Trade Commission in relation to the, an investigation into collectors' holdings and the way they've been aggressively acquiring their competition.
Aggressively, yes.
Yes. That would be the recent acquisition, obviously, of Beckett, but also touched on the acquisition of SGC. I'm not going to read the whole article. We can pop a link to it in the show notes. It's a 3-page document, but I think the most important part of this, and I was talking to Russell about it off air, is the way they've explained the hobby, and I think it's a really succinct way to explain why regulation is so important and why this this lack of oversight and the concerns raised in this letter. So just to quote the second paragraph, the collectibles industry has evolved from a niche hobby into a sophisticated asset class where the financial value of an item is inextricably tied to its grade or certified condition. Third-party grading services, third-party grading serves as the essential market infrastructure for this industry, providing the objective authentication and preservation that enables liquidity and price discovery.
There's some big words in there.
It's a lot. Because a single grade point can represent difference of tens of thousands of dollars in value, the integrity and independence of the grading process are paramount. Collectors' strategy of consolidation and integration has given it the power to manipulate the value of underlying assets, dictate terms to thousands of small businesses, and control the standards of an entire financial ecosystem. Now, that's a really, really well put way of my constant tirades about the need for regulation in the hobby and the concerns around the control someone like PSA has. Because if they're the sole regulator of the condition of cards, they control what our assets are worth. And it's not just a hobby anymore. With Wondershine in the picture, it doesn't matter who it is, these grading companies at the end of the day control what that slabbed bit of cardboard is worth.
Yeah, they contribute to the market sentiment 100%.
Well, they contribute over 80% of the market of the independent grading side of things. That's the concern.
Oh, yeah. Well, what I mean by that is like it used to be BGS that dictated the market, and then PSA has been the game winner the last 5 years or so.
They break down the percentage of the market share and everything, and it gradually, they said, with the acquisition of SGC and then following the acquisition of Beckett, they now control over 80% of the market, with CGC the only one with any real scale, and that's below 20 at 17%. So it's...
The numbers they cited there, I actually wonder what they mean by that, because is that what's been graded in the last couple of years, or is this what's in total that's out there across all of the different, sports and TCG and all the rest of it? Because I'd actually like to clarify that fact with Ryan, because I think that would be...
I mean, I'm not going to argue with the fact that I think PSA's everything that's under collector's umbrella, collector holdings. So, do you know what I mean? So it's Beckett, it's SGC, and it's PSA make up for over 80%.
Sure.
So, and you see those grading reports every month that like those companies do represent well over 80% of the cards graded. And the only other blip on that is, I mean, we saw Tag into the field with Bugger All last month, but you also, and CGC is the only other one. So if over 80% of the cards graded are done by this one power, you can see how concerning that level of control is. And I'm not going to go into the next page where they go on to about why that 80% is so harmful. There's a bunch of really key points on the final page. I think it's summarized quite well.
Can I just
jump in
for a second? Yeah, so I think what I was talking to you off air is like who wrote this article and who contributed to it, because unless this guy is a diehard card collector and also a politician at the same time, or I should say congressman, shouldn't I really?
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that someone has either someone who has a very close working relationship with, or someone has gotten to his ear and laid out the workings and the machinations of the hobby, because I feel like this is a very well written letter, and you I think also probably correctly pointed out too that there would be a ghostwriter or someone who's writing this letter, so there would be sort of a small team that would have put this together. But there's no references to this letter. I was nearly calling it an article because that's almost what it reads like, but there's no references to this letter. So I would like to know where they got their data from, and I would like to know who assisted the writing on this.
Yeah,
Because
100%. I
because
think,
whoever did this has got their own motivations for putting this information forward and putting it public, right?
well, and I'll continue to use this whole asset class concept that now that we've got the Wondershines of the world jumping in, it doesn't have to be tens of $1 million of, like, conglomerates that are putting together like multi-million-dollar collections. There could be very wealthy people that are looking to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars and know a local congressman. Like, people that are investing in this as an asset class may have made discoveries and gone, I've got concerns about the integrity of the asset that I'm buying.
So
Because
do you think
you've
that?
got investors now. This is the thing.
So do you think there's some people out there who have got high value BGS cards and now they're worried about them?
Yeah, maybe. Or just
Because
hearing about the acquisitions. Obviously, people. Well, I say obviously. For me, if I'm investing into something, I want to do some research on it. So if I'm buying something, then I'm like, wow, that's amazing. It's gone up 700% in 3 years. This is crazy. I'm going to get involved. And then they start doing research and they go, okay, so what is this tied to? Where does the value come from? And they go, it's literally connected to the grade because the population of those grades are, and then someone goes, oh, but wasn't there a thing about the card being degraded or upgraded or regraded? What's happening with that? Dig, 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 dig. And I'm talking like savvy business people that are analyzing this relatively new asset class, we'll say, because it was a hobby. Regardless of the high value, it was considered a hobby. Now it's considered an asset. So you've got people that specifically invest in assets, not connected to their sports team, not buying it because of history or anything like that. Literally trying to put an investment, go, is that a good investment?
yeah.
And now they want to know how it's regulated, and they're discovering it's actually not regulated all that well. Rich, powerful people, no senators, no congressmen. I feel like this is where the noise came from. Obviously, there are going to be experts in the field that have assisted, I think. I'm sure no one's going to put their name to it and say that they helped the congressman. But yeah, you're right. Someone's probably made enough noise to warrant this level of attention. I thought it was going to take longer, but
Yeah.
clearly it hasn't.
Do you want to read through the next paragraph about the SGC stuff? Because I think that's actually quite relevant. And then there's something I wanted to talk about in the following paragraph.
Okay, so is this the just the next bit where it says the
The
collectors?
SGC acquisition serves as a cautionary tale for the pending Beckett transaction.
Where are we? Oh, the literal next bit. Where are we? So in less than 5 years, collectors, they've systematically eliminated competitors through serial acquisitions. The company acquired SGC in February 2024 and now has announced the acquisition of Beckett in December 2025. This pattern has resulted in a staggering concentration of power, indication that PSA holds 72% market share, SGC holds 8%, and Beckett holds 3%, which cumulatively, collectively represents 83% of the total market volume. The SGC acquisition serves as a cautionary tale for the pending Beckett transaction. Despite the initial assurances of independence, SGC's leadership departed shortly after the merger. Resources were diverted to PSA, and SGC's grading volume plummeted by 61% in just 2 months.
So we definitely briefly touched on that in the last episode.
Saying that they declined, yeah.
And I think without spoiling what is going to come later on in the show, we've got Ryan from Gemrate. He's going to send us a voicemail. He's also touched on this. So I think this seems to be like, are we almost getting like agreement here? This is like where it's headed to. But
It's a pattern. They're saying that they would get the next line is collectors is now offering the identical assurances regarding Beckett, following the predictable pattern of acquiring a rival, promising independence, and subsequently dismantling the competitive constraint.
that's right. Yeah.
So they're actually, yeah, we promise this is going to be an independent, guys. It's all going to be fair and even. And then within 3 months, gone. That's after being, yeah.
So the thing that I just want to run past you through really quickly, collector's dominance is compounded by its vertical integration. Now, we literally we read that full tweet out 2 episodes ago, and I'm actually trying to find that as I'm chatting to you at the moment.
It controls grading capacity, pricing analytics through card ladder, and participates in buying and selling of graded cards, creating severe conflicts of interest.
Like, this is not really a conspiracy, but
It's flat facts.
no, but like,
It's not.
for someone to be,
It's the writing's on the wall, though. They're like, no, no, no. This is not good business practice.
yeah.
This is a congressman going, this is a conflict of interest. You shouldn't be selling the cards you grade.
PSA purchased PSA 9 graded cards and regraded them at 10 for resale at a significant financial gain.
Yep.
This touches on so much, doesn't it?
It touches on the whole lot. And
PSA characterized the incident as isolated, illustrates the structural dangers of allowing a dominant grader to identify, acquire, and reintroduce high-value inventory before normal price discovery.
it's market manipulation. By controlling nearly all large-scale grading platforms, collectors effectively dictates the employment terms for professional graders. This dominance suppresses labor mobility and makes it virtually impossible for new independent competitors to attain the specialized talent required to enter the market, thereby raising an insurmountable barrier to entry. So then it comes under the request of the FTC, basically saying that it's a violation of Section 7 of the Clayton Act. I don't know what the American acts are, but yeah. The 2023 merger guidelines reconcile that a firm may violate the antitrust laws through a series of acquisitions that cumulatively harm competition, even if no single transaction independently triggers the liability. Yeah. So they're saying it's a pattern, and it's going to, yeah. They're in a breach.
Interesting. All right. Final thoughts on this ad?
Final thoughts. I would give anyone that's interested in what the hell's going on and what the noise is about. We'll put the link in the show notes. You don't have to read the whole document. There's like a top 10 points kind of thing. They talk about monopolization, acquisition patterns, evading regulations, the erosion of competition, pricing, and the market manipulation stuff. So,
yeah,
very interesting read. It's not sort of faff. It's all seems to be based on evidence to hand. So, and this is all public knowledge about the acquisition and stuff. So,
I mean, it makes it very.
Puts it black and white for me, and for once, I think
makes it very transparent about all the naughty stuff that PSA has sort of been up to, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, and even if they're not actively doing it, it's the fact that they've got the capability. They've got the opportunity to do it because of the position they hold. And that's the whole concern, right? Is if you've got that monopoly, you control everything, and no one else can break in to the market. So, look, I think it's nice. It's black and white. It's shining a light on the need for regulation in the hobby, and yeah, watch this space, I guess. Exciting times.
Thank you to the Bagman. This ad is brought to you by the Bagman. Ripping NBA case breaks weekly with fast weekly shipping straight to your door. The group is absolutely on fire right now. They recently pulled the Paulo Banchero Immaculate Logoman Patch 1 of 1, which they sold the very next day for $60,000. If you want in on the action, head to the Facebook groups and search the Bangman. Also running a 1 of 1 bounty, which will increase $25 per break until it maxes out at 1K. Join the hype, join the hits, join the Bangman. Alrighty, we are back. How are you doing?
Back with a vengeance.
With a vengeance.
We're good. We're ready for part 2 of the show. So
Part 2 is our Wilt Chamberlain conversation. Part 2.
What's part 2 of the show and part 2 of the Wilt Chamberlain check-in?
That is insane.
Inception almost.
Festive, you might say.
Ha!
All right. We wanted to do some further digging on this. You went and did some homework today. Tell us, what did you find?
I did more homework today than I think I've done all year.
I'm proud of you, mate.
Thank you. The FTC stuff was a lot of fun. The Wilt stuff, I'm like, maybe I just got a bit carried away. So it wasn't a 1-of-1 with PSA. It was just that because it was an SGC 10 and they crossed it over. Now the SGC 10 doesn't appear on any of the things.
Yeah.
So there are 4 of the Wilt in existence. Sorry, there were 4. So that was one of the 4.
Yep.
So the one that was downgraded is the one that was crossed. That's what I wasn't sure about. When I found out it wasn't a 1-of-1, I got a bit down on myself.
Yeah, I think we were a bit confused because our recollection was we were discussing it as a 1-of-1, but I actually went back and read
It is 4, yeah.
The transcript notes from our episode. Because remember the timeline. The timeline was it was graded as an SGC. We talked about it on the pod.
Yeah. And then it came back as
sold, and then it was crossed over to PSA. So I think that's why in our heads we were thinking it was like a 1-of-1 when in fact the pop on it is 4. So yeah. It's good that we somewhat had our ducks in a row on that. But all right, so let's talk about this. So where are we at with this in terms of value? What else do you want to talk about?
It still doesn't make any sense to me. Like I think we should have just corrected that it's not a 1-of-1. It was genuinely. There's no conspiracy with PSA making up 4 cards. We've now got the clarity. There isn't any history.
Right, that's what you were a bit worried about.
But there's the whole fact that it sold for 1.7. The card sold for 1.7 million, and that was the SGC 10. That it's become a PSA 10 and is now a PSA 9. So it's really confusing. I still don't understand what sparked this review and why someone that has a PSA 10 would want it reviewed and downgraded.
No, I think that's 2 separate events because, well, what was said to us from TJ is online. He said this to me in DM, is that the card was graded at least 20 years ago.
So it's not the one from SGC, it's one of the other ones.
It's a different one.
Okay, there we go.
So just to clarify that. Yep.
Cool. So it wasn't the SGC 10 that was turned into a PSA 10 and then turned into a 9. It was a long-standing 10 that has now been reviewed for whatever reason because it's an old label? Like, I'd still like to know why the...
Okay, so what I said to TJ online was, from what I can gather, the card was graded several years ago. He replied to me, yes, about 25 years ago.
Okay, so why would I want... Is he trying to get a PSA 11? Why would you do that? Is it insurance purposes?
And I asked him, it needed to be re-encapsulated? I thought maybe the slab was damaged.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it wasn't needed to be. It was reholded for the August 25 auction at Heritage. Then I said, did PSA automatically review the card when they re-encapsulate it? No. Sometimes they inspect cards again if the slab is cracked. That wasn't the situation this time. The current owner asked for the card to be reviewed.
Something's up. Anyway, I'm sure something will come to light. It's just bizarre.
But if you look at your card in a slab and you're like, this doesn't, it's clearly off left to right, which I think that was what the issue with this card was.
Okay.
And you are trying to sell it and you're trying to be, transparent about it. You don't want any issues coming back.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Would you do that to make sure that there's no faff later on? So instead of selling a card that says 10, but you're a bit worried it might come back a 9.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. I just...
maybe this dude is actually an honest guy in the hobby and he's trying to do the right thing.
I guess that's the problem, is we've heard so much of the other stuff.
We're so skeptical, and I think we're in such a negative space around where we are at the moment. All right.
Agreed. Okay.
Why don't we actually try and spin this into a positive? Okay, so maybe this dude is just trying to do the right thing by the next person at the Heritage auction.
Okay. I'm
How
down with
lovely is
that.
that?
Like, that's great.
How good is the world we live in, Ad?
It's good. It's great.
So lovely. All right, let's listen to Ryan from Gemrate's voicemail.
Yes.
And this is to follow on from basically the PSA acquisition. So we're going back to the first segment of the show, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we can. It's good.
Hey guys, happy holidays. Hope things are well. I just wanted to touch base real quick and send you over a few points on the collector's acquisition of Beckett. A few notes. One, I think in general, people are pretty skeptical given what just happened with SGC. I think people were kind of hoping that the collector's holding company would invest in the SGC brand, and obviously it didn't play out that way. And I think people are pretty skeptical that there's going to be any investment in the Beckett brand. That said, I think they're very different brands. The SGC brand was significant, but with a smaller audience, much more vintage oriented, where the Beckett brand there's a lot more nostalgia for it for the 35 plus crowd. Not only that, Beckett also has a brand that sort of extends to things like media. I think the media angle could be interesting for collectors here to sort of use it as a way to advance the conversation, educate new collectors, and just sort of alter the hobby engagement a bit. Beckett has a lot of opportunity to sort of be refreshed from an operations and technology standpoint. And so I think there's some room for optimism there that it's a lot more similar to the PSA story when it went private by Nat Turner and co. And I think you could apply a lot of the same techniques to the Beckett brand and the Beckett operations to, potentially rejuvenate it. So I don't know that they'll do that, obviously, but there's certainly a lot of opportunity to do that. And then in general, there's 13 million Beckett slabs out there that are in the market. And so, number one, you're not going to win any favor by making people lose confidence in those slabs. You have a lot of really expensive cards in Beckett slabs, and they're more than likely going to do what they can to at least sort of show face and make sure people don't lose confidence in sort of the near-term prospects. And ultimately, even if they did, I think they would have to be pretty thoughtful about how they would give people an opportunity to migrate those slabs to potentially PSA slabs if they ever were sort of reduce sort of the availability or sort of the impact of the Beckett brand. That said, again, I think there's sort of reason to believe that they may actually invest in it. So, I'm biased. I spend, all day thinking about the grading companies and population and sort of supply of cards in the market. And, it's always interesting to think about more players and sort of the complexity that comes with that. So I'm potentially biased on that, but I just think there's an opportunity for somebody to sort of bring Beckett back in sort of a fresh look and invest in the brand. They've obviously not been very transparent or done a lot of marketing. And so, again, a lot of opportunity there. Yeah, and if the public discourse right now is not very favorable towards this acquisition. I think people are pretty excited about the potential antitrust hurdles that might face collectors here. But ultimately, I think if collectors and companies sort of can roadmap the plans and how they would invest in Beckett, it'll give people a lot more confidence in the sort of the potential upside or the future for Beckett, which is something they didn't really do at all with SGC, right? They didn't sort of give any context to how they might advance the brand. If anything, they kind of just let them do what they were doing, but they slowly behind the scenes were sort of killing promotions and things like that. With Beckett, if they actually sort of gave more detail on, how they're going to invest, I think people will get pretty excited about it. So anyways, not the shortest message. It's almost 4 minutes, but hopefully you guys find some value and some use in that. But just wanted to give you some quick notes. Alrighty, have a good holiday.
Alrighty. I've got heaps of notes to run through, but I'll let you have the first.
I'm gonna remain relatively equal footed on. I know my reaction last episode was very concerned about what they were going to do and all the manipulation and things. I think Ryan summed it up really well.
As always,
they have an opportunity. They do. PSAL collectors have an opportunity to rebuild Beckett in a way Beckett haven't been able to. They can put some money behind it. They can put some resources behind it, and they can bring it back to some level of respectability. And you know what? After the first segment of the show, maybe they've got some incentive to do so. Because if they go and repeat what they've done with SGC, then there might be a huge antitrust thing coming through from Congress. So, yeah, it was great to hear from Ryan. It's been too long, so yeah, maybe
been
It's
far too long.
fantastic to hear from him. Keep up the amazing work there in the background, as always.
Yeah, so all right, so some of the notes I had is that he's skeptical after the SGC acquisition. I think that was also said in the letter from the congressman, and I probably think the more that my mind is sort of working my way through this, I'm more on the skeptic side because I
100%.
personally think Ryan is in that group of optimists for BGS, and I'm probably at that point now where I have no vested interest in BGS,
Yeah.
and I actually could care less about like really what happens to them. So I think I'm sort of looking at this from a very different perspective in the sense that if they do bring back BGS, I think that's a very optimistic way of looking at it from this like point of view.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just being too skeptical, but actually it seems more logical now that it's going to drain this company and just whittle it away so they do have almost complete market share. Like that's sort of where I'm at this like point in time. Will there be investment into BGS? I don't think so. But the thing that he did speak about, which I think is kind of interest, is their media potential. Because you remember the Beckett Guide, how that was almost like a Bible of sorts for collectors.
That was the 90s Bible.
That's such a shame that has gone to waste. You know, can they somehow bring that back, but in a more modern context? So whether it's with tweets and YouTube pages and, you know, Instagram reels and stuff like that, like, you know, that would be wonderful if there was sort of something in that place. And
Sure.
And it's really funny, isn't it? Like, think about how many Instagrammers there are and how many influencers there are. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
dare I say it? You know, we're going to talk about Jeff Wilson in a second, but like, wouldn't it be great if there was that sort of really knowledgeable source just dropping knowledge on us twice a week?
Look,
you know,
as much as the integrity side and the skepticism does resonate a lot with me, I'm going to sit back and hope, and hope that the powers that be do realise that the writing's on the wall now, especially now the spotlight's been shone on them, that it's in their interest to rebuild Beckett. I actually think they may have already destroyed SGC, but here's an opportunity to build Beckett and do the right thing, and
so you're an optimist then?
I don't think if this letter to the FTC if it hadn't come out, I think Beckett would have been ridden into the ground. But I think now that this letter's surfaced, Beckett might actually have a shot of being rebirthed by.
Well, they'll just do it in a more
collectors.
sneaky way, right?
Well, they'll be forced to, right? Like it's a PR exercise now.
All right, so just hear me out on this. So Ryan said 13 million Beckett slabs, right? Mm-hmm. In that article, it says 366,000 Beckett cards. And this is
but that's grading numbers, right? That's recent grading numbers. 13 million's over the years and years and years of Beckett.
That's what I'm saying to you, Ad. So where do there's no references in this article, right? I think context does matter. So that's what I'm saying to you.
Okay, so you mean the letter
earlier,
to the FTC.
Yeah.
I think it's all current
That's what I was
stuff.
saying to you. Like, what are they talking about? Are they talking about the last year? Are they talking about the last 2 months? Like, what are they talking about? Because, like, I think 13 million it's obviously very different to 366,000, but you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah, but most of the older cards, right? And you remember what it was like back in the early 2000s, back in the 90s. We didn't get
PSA.
We didn't get PSA 10s. It was BGS 9.5s.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
But yeah, the antitrust stuff I think is going to have a big bearing on this. Yeah,
the collectors' roadmaps to investment. I think that's a very good point. And again, if they did have a social media platform, that is something that they could entice people with to sort of, you know, bring us, even if they're false promises.
Look,
they need something to hope for.
My view is they need, in order to save a public relations nightmare and a Congress level dealings with this FTC investigation, they need to start going the other way. Stop being the aggressive monopoly and try and create a nice, harmonious hobby environment. Because if they don't do that, they're going to get investigated and shut down.
Yeah. Thank you to Neon Trading Cards for your ongoing support. Go to neontradingcards.com. There you'll find a huge array of breaks, soccer, NBA, MLB, F1, AFL, NRL, WWE, and Marvel. Find Neon Trading Cards on Whatnot. They are one of the 3 Australian repackers on Whatnot. And they are also one of the only Tops and Fanatics direct breaking partner in Australia. Awesome. So go check them out, neontradingcards.com, for all of your breaking needs. Now, Also specific to this week, just keeping in mind when this is recorded and when it has gone to air. I hope you guys really enjoyed all of their Christmas Day streams and you got onto that. And don't forget, they will be streaming and running breaks every single day of the holidays.
That's it.
So don't forget to check in with Neon Trading Cards.
Hope you all got your
over
Topps
this
Chrome fix.
holiday period.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we're back, and Adam, we're going to go straight into our new segment.
You love doing a recording, don't you?
We've even got a little recording intro for it.
Jeff Wilson, yodeling, hee hee, ooh. Jeff Wilson.
This week's Jeff Wilson recap. We're going to head over to Jeff Wilson's Twitter and see what is Jeff Wilson up to this week.
Oh,
this
God.
scallywag of the hobby. What's he up to this week? He's taken a tour to New York City and he's gone to Dave and Adams. And he's got his finger pointing up into the air and he's smiling. That's the end of this week's Amazing Adventures with Jeff Wilson. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you enjoyed this week's check-in with the internet goat, Jeff Wilson. Alrighty, our next topic we're going to talk about is the Michael Jordan 1998 Molten Metal.
Hang on a second. Is you only want to say that he went to David Adams? Is that it? He went to New York.
Pretty
and
much the
pointed
highlight.
up in the air.
That's pretty much his highlight.
Didn't put his foot in anything. Didn't say anything stupid.
Well, we already highlighted that last week, but we just
Fair
didn't
enough.
have the
I
introduction, so.
thought the stupidity was a weekly thing.
Great to see a big card store in New York City. What do you think? That's the most intelligent thing he had to say.
Fair enough. Okay, let's get back to that, Jordan.
Yeah. 1998 Molten Metal Michael Jordan, number 41, Fusion Titanium, numbered to 40, graded by the former Titan BGS. Last sold for $433,100.
That's a lot of money.
We have spoken about this card on the show, and I want to go out to a limb and say that we spoke about the last sale, which was midway through 2023. I thought we spoke about this card in 24, so it's possible we spoke about a different graded sale.
Yeah, true.
All right, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm going to say about this already. I'm like, my head is just a bit messed up with all these Jordans that are selling at the moment for these crazy prices. So I think I'm just going to leave the floor to you.
It's a good looking card. At least it's gold. Gold signifies value, right? So
I think it's a great card, but it's the price tag, Ed.
yeah, but this is the world we live in. Like this kind of stuff was readily available for what's the price? You could have bought this for $200,000 a little while back.
I mean, if you're a finance guy, you'd be licking your lips, right? Like, to make that much profit in such a short period of time.
But this goes back once again, and I'm not going to do this every time we talk about price spikes, but this is why there are people investing into the hobby and then saying, where's the regulatory controls?
For sure.
Like, that value is tied to that BGS 9 value. Can you imagine the value if it's a PSA 10? And that choice is owned by collectors.
Yeah. Actually, what I do want to do, though, is just go back to last week and also the week before. We had that Jordan PMG that sold. So just really quickly refreshing. The PMG was BGS 8.5. It's numbered to 90. And the pop on the PMG is 11.
Yeah.
That's sold for $650. So in contrast, we've got this card for $433. Population 7, it's numbered to 40. So
yeah,
I suppose when you look at it like that, actually that probably makes it a little bit easier for me, because if you're just doing like the pure numbers game,
yeah,
actually there's a bit more value in that Fusion Titanium as opposed to the PMG.
I think there's a lot of value in it, and there's a lot of relativity there to it, because these cards weren't easy to come by.
Yeah. I think I'm so stuck on the PMG's fizzled corners though and edges.
Yeah, but this doesn't look like it's got fizzled corners and edges. This is
that's what I'm saying. Like, so the
sexy
titanium,
card.
I prefer the aesthetics of this card again.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see that. I like it. I like it.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's another Jordan for us to admire.
To froth over.
Do you think that's a Wondershine purchase?
Ooh. No.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But that said, maybe they've been listening to us and they've started paying odd numbers to take it to get us off
To
the
mess
scent.
with us.
Yeah.
I don't think this fits their Wondershine criteria.
Listening to our show.
Well, definitely, I don't think they're listening
That
to our
doesn't-
show.
no.
But, yeah. Do you know what did freak me out a little bit before, like put my conspiracy hat on, was that vertical integration thing. I want to
Yeah.
find that tweet now. I reckon they've either ripped off Twitter
Yeah.
or it's the same person that tipped him off.
Possible. A lot of angry people wanting regulation in the hobby. It wasn't me, by the way. That
I think
wrote
this
to
is
the
a,
congressman. I didn't.
I think this is. I don't think people need to listen to my conspiracy theories live on the show. I think this is an off-air conversation.
Fair. Just the whole regulation thing. It wasn't me. That's all I'm saying. I did not know the congressman.
I don't believe you. Charles Barkley, star card. So I think the more famous card from this set, obviously, is the Michael Jordan card.
Mm-hmm.
1984, Charles Barkley base, BGS 9. So again, we're talking about like 3 massive BGS cards in a row here.
Yeah.
Population at 195. Notched a new high when it sold for $5,400 by a fixed price with eBay.
Very nice.
All right, I'm just gonna take the lead on this one and just go first. I'm just gonna push in here. I love this a lot. I actually think that's an absolute bargain.
Yeah.
And I think if you're identifying particular cards in a set which you think has got potential to go up in value moving into the future, this is an absolute no-brainer. We've already seen it with the Jordan rookie card when there was, for a very long period of time, where the Fleer card was more expensive than the Star card. That narrative has completely flipped around now. And so, yeah, like, there's not a lot of... Like, you can get heaps of Barkley autographs now. Like, he signs a lot.
Yeah.
But sort of between ultra modern and... Like, yeah, there's some nice 90s inserts. But before that, in the 80s, it's like...
Not a lot. There's not much at all.
This is it, isn't it, really?
Yeah. 100%.
What do you think about the photography on this card, though?
It's very basic.
Yeah.
But that's what Star and Fleer were back then. They were, like, no offense to them, like stock images. They were analog cameras. It wasn't people on digital like lenses getting a billion shots. Like, it was actual photographers trying to get
Like,
old
the
school.
quality of that photo is about as good as my Jeff Wilson intro.
Sure, but the technology
what I
it was
mean?
taken on
Right.
was, yeah. I think you've got to give credit where credit's due. Back when that card was made, A, I wouldn't have been allowed to use a camera because I would have been that young. But B, the cameras in use were the old wind, click. You get 24 exposures, and
They were real pros back then, weren't they?
that's it. They had to get the photos developed. They had to get some action. Like, if they went and got a bunch of action shots, got them all developed to figure out which one was the image.
Yeah.
So, like, going back to what technology they had, I think that's not a bad shot.
We used to get a lot more,
They've got drones that fly around the court these days.
like images of them shooting free throws. That was like the cleanest shot you used to be able to get, right? Or them dribbling the ball. You're right. The action shots these days are just out of control, aren't they?
The
Look,
guy on
I
the
like
sideline
design.
taking photos, yeah.
I like the design. I hate the holder. I love the price. Yeah, I think this is just like a fantastic.
That's a nice bit of
Purchase.
history. How's that?
Yeah, it's a really cool card. I wonder what these are going for in PSA.
Interesting. The star ones, probably a little bit more PSA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We are going to do a Jalen Johnson check-in.
Jalen Johnson check-in.
And then I think what we should do is probably go for a break because that'll keep us relatively on track today.
Yes.
After we did go a little bit late,
True.
but that's okay.
I'm back into line.
All right. Either I'm spelling Jalen Johnson wrong or he's not on card letter.
Why not both?
No. Unbelievable. Not on card letter.
Hard to do a check-in if he's not on card ladder.
Alrighty, there is a few sales here though. So there's a few raws that have sold.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about raw silver prisms. I probably don't need to clarify that, but just in case, $41, $38.90, $39.89. There's a cracked ice for $15.30. There's a green for $13, an orange for $15. Here we go. This is a nice one. The rookie blue number to 199 PSA 10. That sold for $559.
Whoa.
Let's just use that because for the time being, unfortunately, we can't find him on the actual card ladder. Which card ladder? Get your act together.
Fair.
Get this guy on the register.
Fair.
Buy, hold, or sell at $559. Ad. Where are you at with this guy?
I'd sell at that price, but that's the one to 199. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's probably still a sell. I don't know. I don't see him as like a top of the league kind of player at this stage.
Okay.
I don't know. He's good, but just don't get me wrong. I just don't think he warrants that. We'll call it Cade level value. Maybe. I think Cade's a good point where he's taken that leap.
I've been pretty high on this kid for a little while now, and this year, so my sort of comp to him was like a Timu sort of LeBron James.
Timu LeBron James. Okay.
And legit, the way he's been playing this year, I don't mind that comp like at all. And actually, in the last 12 months, his stuff has been really cheap to pick up. My probably only regret at this like exact point in time is like I didn't pick up more, just because I think he's definitely picking up that sort of hobby sentiment at the moment where he's gaining some popularity.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of time until the Hawks move Trae Young, honestly. I think that injury, that stretch that Trae Young was out and how well the Hawks played and how well Jalen Johnson responded to that responsibility, I think that's just all really, really positive signs for that team. So
Fair.
I'm super high on this kid. I think this is great. And look, even if you're still buying stuff at the moment, like, yeah, actually, let's comp this for a second because you mentioned Trae Young before. All right, so let's just say that Jalen Johnson is selling for $41 because I've got two players in my head
Okay.
that is also trading at about $40 for a raw silver. And it's Cade Cunningham and it's Paulo Banchero. So just give me 2 seconds and I'll pull this data up. All right, so a raw Cunningham is 58.
Yep.
Okay. And a Banchero, I'm actually going to almost swear to you
It's
that
40.
it's going to be about $40. So
I'd take a Cade at 58 for sure.
27 for a Banchero raw.
Yeah. Okay.
So technically, Jalen Johnson
Banchero's-
is selling more than Banchero.
Banchero's definitely on a
So-
decline though this year.
The price schedule at the moment is Banchero, Jalen Johnson, Cade Cunningham. And I think that's what we're seeing in the league at the moment, isn't it? Like, yeah.
Agreed.
All right, let's go for a break. And we will be back. US Sports Cards Australia, thank you so much for your ongoing support. Go to usportscardsaustralia.com.au. There you will find a whole range of products. Brakes, card protection, Ross's beloved water pistols,
They're awesome.
and of course, don't forget about his card consignment service. If you would like to have a sneak peek at his new website, go to Instagram and search for comca.tradingcards, and there you'll see an updated image of what his page is going to be looking like very, very shortly. Now, if you are a You Can't Comp This listener, you can have a entire sub done to ComCA for 9 cents. It's normally 9 cents per card, but just write on your submission sheet, anywhere on the sheet, You Can't Comp This, and you'll get your entire sub for 9 cents. Recent sales on the site have been 600, 390, 240, and 165. So Ross is getting some great sales going
awesome.
through there. I've recently set up my account. It was easy to do. I've done my first submission. I just have to go on there and do my pricing, and I'm going to get some sales live in the next week or so. So I'm pretty excited about that. Thanks again to US Sports Cards Australia. Alrighty, Ad, we're back and we're into the final quarter. We're going to talk about Topps buyback.
Topps
I am-
buyback.
Very, very, very excited about this. I am very excited about. It's official. MVP buyback is coming to basketball. Topps Chrome Basketball arrives next week. Make sure to hold onto the cards of your pick for the NBA MVP. So basically how this works is you take in any card of the MVP, and once the award's been announced, you go to your local basketball shop and they will give you a set, like a designated value for each card that you take in, and they'll buy them all back from you. I think this is a really, really cool thing that they've done, and I actually wish they would take this out further to another step. Like, for example,
award winners
team, or rookie of the year, or most improved. Something like that to make it. It's not just like one guy, particularly that sort of really big guy where
you
don't really need the sales. Like, it'll be somehow fun if you could have a card that you were kind of happy to get rid of and someone would buy it back, even if it was less than market value, where you just sort of take in a whole pile of cards and they'll buy them back from you. Like, I think that would be kind of cool. But at the same time too, definitely this is not a complaint. I think this is super awesome. I think it's a really good way to get people to go into hobby shops.
100% agreed.
So you'll be getting some money back, but I'm pretty sure you're going to spend more than you get back on, the next box of sealed or, whatever it is that happens, to sort of go through. So what's your thoughts on this, man?
I like it. I think it's something different. It's a little bit, I don't know. It could be I don't know. It's just weird. I like it. Like, I don't know what it looks like, but I like it. I like that they're trying new things.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, so.
All right. The next thing for us to talk about is Fanatics distribution. So this is coming from Barbell Breaks. Heartbreaking news today. Fanatics Breaker program is now being massively downsized to provide more allocated stock for bigger breakers. We are unfortunately collateral damage and are being kicked out of the program. I'm sure you'll hear from other breakers. Small shop soon if you haven't already. I'll have the next few Topps releases, but after that, I'm SOL. So you might need to use your Urban Dictionary at home if you've got kids around for that one. I don't know what to make of this hobby anymore. It's becoming everything I hate. Greed and legit gambling has moved to the top. I've got quite a bit to think about, but I think once April, May rolls around, I'm done for good. I absolutely love breaking for you guys, so I'm gutted. I just don't know if I can support a company that poops on the little guy to make a few more bucks. All right, so I think for some sort of context for this, since this person put out this post, I think a lot more people have put up their hands and said, I'm also included in this downsize.
There's a lot of people that are SOL.
Yeah, by Fanatics. And I think for me, I can't work this out. I don't know if they're having problems with distribution. Like, they've really underestimated how much distribution chain Panini had in place through David Adams, through GTS, and through, Blowout, all that type of stuff, all those sort of little trickle down chains that was in place. So I don't know if that's the issue, where they literally can't distribute out to all these people, or they don't have enough stock to get to everybody. Like, is there not enough stock being printed, or do we now actually beginning to realize actually how much stock Panini printed? Because Panini were very cagey about that.
Yeah, maybe, but
they didn't have pack odds on the packets. They never really told you how much stuff was out there. Like, we joke about junk wax. Maybe we just went through the biggest junk wax era.
I think there's evidence to say that might have been the case. But I don't like to be I've been very hardline on a lot of things, but
that's fine.
It's early days for Topps, so I think them getting their supply chain stuff in line, and Panini, obviously they were buying patterns, there were distribution arms that had responsibilities, and things developed over time, right? Every year the distribution got, or the controls and the way they did it changed. I won't always say improved, because that might not be the case. But this is. I know they've been doing other sports for years, but they're back in basketball. So maybe they've rolled it out one way and gone, you know what, we've got to change this, but you can't change it in the moment. And you've got to plan these things out months in advance. So I think the damage is done for the first few releases. And they have to take that data and learn from it.
Yeah, look, I'm not too sure. I think you also need to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt too, because clearly this guy's salty. And then as he's leaving the place, he's saying that everything I hate is, greed and gambling, which I think people have also associated that with breakers too. So, we need to be a bit careful of, how much we believe this. I will say though that there is a number of large, very reputable breakers in Australia that now do not have tops. And literally are saying the same thing as this guy. Like, what do we do next? We're not getting allocation. So now what do we do? And I think this is a real thing. I think the landscape of breaking is changing dramatically in front of our eyes. And if this is true, we are now going to be forced to go to all of the allocated breakers, which is going to be filth bombs, which is going to be backyard breaks, which is going to be the Fanatics platform. And I think, more local to us, it's going to be Berry Collectibles. And it's going to be, of course, our sponsors, Neon Trading Cards.
Of course. Right? Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like, ultimately, this is like what the landscape could very well look like. Whereas we had a lot more, and I'm going to include myself into this, the mums and dads breakers who just did it as a hobby and enjoyed opening their 1 or 2 boxes a week. I think all of those amateur guys are going to be erased. I think that's potentially what could be on the landscape here. And
I think there'll be a downturn, but I think there'll be an adjustment. I think there'll be a course correction, and I don't think they're going to let that section of the hobby die. That said, you can't, like when Tops were around last time, and this is going back quite a ways, breakers didn't exist. When Panini started, breakers didn't exist. The way we open product now is very different to how we opened product in the 90s. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would go out and I would save up and I would buy a box of cards. Whatever it was. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Fleer Ultra. I would save up and I would buy a box of Fleer Ultra. And I would get my 1 per box card and I would... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear, yeah.
And now, when I came back into the hobby and breaking had sort of just taken off, it was pay an amount of money, watch someone break the whole case, and get the hits. Didn't even get the base cards. Like, it was, like there was, the amount of change this hobby has gone through in the last decade is
significant,
crazy. And I think there is a level of it ebbs and flows, and I feel the pain of this guy saying it feels like the gamblers are winning, because that's what breaking feels like. If you go into a random team break, you're literally just gambling. You go, I'm going to go 1 in 30 chance of getting a good team, and we'll see what happens.
You hope to go overs on your spot, 100%.
Right? It's a different type of raffle, but that will adjust. We went from case breaks to box breaks. Like, things evolve, things ebb and flow. Geez, we've had repackers enter the breaking field. Do you know, like, people are trying different things, and I think now that Topps, as I said, we've only seen a couple of releases. Let's see what the production looks like when the dust settles, because they need some tangible sales data for this market. And I'm not defending them. I'm just saying they're not just going to let distribution die in the ass.
Yeah, but I think logically, if you're cutting people out, that means you're pretty confident what you've got, you're going to be able to sell.
That means you've got a limited supply.
Sure, or other people can fill it.
Yeah, they're saying, okay, so as I said, it's got to be forecast. The production has to be forecast. So what they've done is they've produced a finite amount, and they haven't been able to fill orders, and they've gone, oh shit, we have not produced anywhere near enough cards. But what they have to do is it's a 6-month production line. Like the next lot of distributions in production. They can't go and make twice as many cards because there's a production line that cuts off at a point. And they're saying, oh shit, demand is super high. We need to make more. What do? We're buying buildings. We're going to these things will take time. I think there's going to be a correction, and I think they will open up distribution
And
once
to be fair-
once the dust settles.
To be fair, that also happened with Panini too. There was a point when demand, grossly outstripped supply, and you can make a pretty strong argument that was 18, 19.
And then they adjusted.
And then after that, they printed the life out of that stuff. I think we have to touch on just one more thing here, because I think this is really
for
important.
sure.
It's not just breakers they'll be cutting out too. It's going to be hobby shops.
100%. Yeah.
That's probably the one where I feel, it's not that I don't feel badly for breakers. Like, that's not what I mean. But I think
breakers will find a way. Breakers will find a way to break product, right?
Let's use like EJ cards. And this is, I'm just using them as an example, and I know nothing, right? But, they're paying rent, they've got their employees, and now if they're not, and I'm not saying I know this at all, I'm just using it as an example. Let's just hypothetically say now they're not getting their allocation. Like, that's, I think that's killing their business. There's no other way to say that. And I think that, to me, that wasn't part of the manifesto. Let me put it to you that way.
Agreed.
Agreed. That's not what they pledged.
I'm not defending that at all.
That's the part of it I hate. And I think if there's one part of I agree with this, is the greed part. Like, is this really what we want from our hobby?
And this is the thing. Like, I don't know if obviously they've thought about it, but I don't want us to become Pokemon in the fact that the people that actually the grassroots collectors can't get their hands on the product because there's not enough
100%.
product.
Well, my opinion on this is I hope that they somehow work out a product where it's on demand, where you can just go online, you just get a box, and it's even if it's a retail box that's got no guaranteed hits.
You know what? I think the flagship product every year should be an unlimited print run.
Sure. But I think hobby, you still keep all your hobby hits in it, but just say you're buying blasters or megas, whatever.
No, but the retail product doesn't come with the numbered stuff, and you just print the shit out of it.
That's right. Yeah.
It's just for kids to collect sets.
But there's no end on it either. Like, you're talking about to like start and stop. I'm like that.
Like, all right, so I'll go one step.
A popular opinion, but that's what I would want.
No, but you make it the set that the kids collect. You make it a huge base set, and you even have a point of redemption there where you get to a certain point in the season and kids can write in to say, I need these cards for my set, pay a fee, and get their cards.
Or go to ComCA.
But that's for holograms and stuff. Like, I mean, if you're looking for the base 3 cards to complete your Cleveland Cavaliers set, and your little Timmy, you can pay $3 and write to Topps and they'll send the cards out to you. Whatever.
That would be a fun experience, but No, I'm not going to say something negative. That's a lovely idea, Adam. I think that would be fantastic.
In technology we've got these days, I don't think it's actually beyond the realm of possibility.
Yep.
Anyway.
We're at the end of this week's show. I can't believe we've done 2 shows in 2 days, and
we didn't get to just randomly comp cards.
We didn't.
It's because there's news. There's lots of news.
This was going to be half the show was going to be just us making up comps. So anyway, we did it.
Don't worry, we can do some buy, hold, sell, some comping, some stuff when we come back in the new year.
Cool.
Speaking of which, thank you for an awesome show, Russell.
Yeah. Thank you, mate.
Thanks to
Merry
all
Christmas.
Thanks to all of our listeners. Have a safe new year. Hope your Christmas was amazing. We're probably going to take a break next week and ease into 2026.
Unless something crazy happens.
Unless, the US Congress decide, the FTC call a crazy emergency hearing and there's some drama.
If Jeff Wilson does a silly post, I think we'll come back and...
Look, I'm sure you could put together a little IG reel with that tune and it's just like a repost of Jeff Wilson stuff.
I should get onto this.
You should do that. Just like repost some of his content just with the your AI yodeling of Jeff Wilson. I love it.
Thanks.
I'm sure he'll love it when he sees it.
Probably.
Yeah. It'd be great. Anyway,
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for a great 2020.